Hey, welcome to Beat Everyone. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com. So, Alabama beat LSU, third year in a row. DeBoer is now 2 for 2 against those Tigers. Oklahoma is up next. It's homecoming week in Tuscaloosa. They passed another test this week, 3 games left, 2 SEC opponents. Still a lot of work to do before season's end and before they get to where they want to go. Joining us right now to help us understand a little better what we're seeing on the field, a Crimson Tide legend, starting quarterback for 3 seasons at Alabama, helped lead them to an undefeated regular season, SEC Western Division championship in 2008 under head coach Nick Saban, obviously former color commentator for the Crimson Tide Sports Network, John Parker Wilson. John Parker, welcome back, man. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely, Ben. Good to see you, especially after a win.
Gotta love it, man, especially against LSU, right? I mean, that's a real deal rivalry, and to get a win over those guys is always a hard fought battle. You would know certainly better than we would, considering the games you played against them. But you know, I've got some Ty Simpson questions for you, obviously, considering you guys sharing that position. But I want to start with what appears to be top of mind for everybody watching this team. ESPN, they ran a piece today called "Fatal Flaws for Every Playoff Contender," and you can only imagine what they had for Alabama. And these are their words: no run game. Alabama ranks 119th overall among 134 FBS teams in rushing offense, averaging about 112 yards per game. And ESPN, I mean, in this piece, and a lot of people are saying this, it's not just them. They say that this team continues to put everything on Ty Simpson in the passing game. John Parker, do you agree that Alabama has no run game?
No, I mean, I think look, I think we've struggled the past couple weeks. I think that's pretty obvious. Um, but I think the philosophy and what our offense is trying to do, like we've got some really good receivers. We've got a great quarterback. I think our running backs do a good job. I mean, they had a really good day against, I think it was Missouri, was probably the last game that we had a big day. So it's not like, you know, 15, 20 years ago where we're gonna run the ball every play, we're gonna mix in some passes and then, play really good defense. I think this is a team that wants to be aggressive. I think Grubb knows the talent that he has on the outside. And that is what our team's going to be. We're going to be a passing team, and that's okay. That is okay to be a passing team. And that's what I tell people is, run the ball is great, and I think we do a good job of sticking with the run, of trying to run the ball. But at the same time, I think we're creative in the run games. A run doesn't have to be a hand the ball off and run it between tackle. We're doing a lot of stuff on the sidelines, where it might used to be a tall sweep or a stretch play. We're getting the ball to the sidelines. We're just doing it in different ways. I'm totally fine with that. And I think sure the offensive line would love to run the ball more. They'd love to run 200 yards a game. But to me, that's just not who we are. That's gonna take away some things that we're doing in the passing game. But to me, the run game, it's not broken. I mean, it's working. I mean, it's working in the sense that if you look at our play action game, I think that is really strong. I mean, we saw just a few passes last week against LSU where we're able to have a play action and then get a big chunk downfield. So the commitment to the run game, I like that it's still there. I just don't think we're going to be a 200-yard rusher.
We're hearing mixed messages from people on the team within the organization, right? Ty Simpson said after the game that run game struggles are more of a mental problem, whereas Alabama's offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, they talked about the rushing offense with media today. He said that there are some physical things that they need to do a little bit better. That he doesn't think it's a mental issue. What do you see? Do you see mental? Do you see physical? Do you see both?
Um, I think the mental might be more of a at this point a confidence issue, right? That you start believing, hey, we're not a run team, we are a passing team, and then that becomes to fruition after that. Yeah, look, but you look at this, look at the pass stats. Like we're still really good against the pass rush, so we've got the good guys. I mean, we're not giving up sacks. I think Ty was sacked one time last game. That was the time that he fumbled it. So we're getting good looks up front. I think we're close, and I think that's why it is a little physical, it is a little mental, it is a little confidence. It's just not where you'd want it to be. So there's always going to be issues. That's where the spotlight is right now. Um, and you know what? As good as we've been in the passing game, you get a point to something. Everybody wants to be perfect. That's the standard, right? Is everybody's perfect. We score 100, they score nothing. We make every kick, we catch every ball, and that's just not going to happen. So does it need to improve? Obviously. I mean, that's part of it, and that's to me this team. I've been so impressed with them since the first game. Not a good game against Florida State, but they've consistently improved every game. I like the mentality. I just like the way they go about their business. It is sure it's going to upset the offensive line that they're not putting up the numbers, and obviously DeBoer and Grubb and everybody wants those numbers to be better. We're moving in the right direction. Oklahoma is obviously a really good defense, so it's going to be another tough test. But these guys have been through all the tough tests this season. They've weathered the storm. They've played great. Um, and I know we're going to talk about the running game, but on the flip side of it, the passing game's strong. It is awesome. I think Ty's done a fantastic job. I think the guys on the perimeter, tight ends included, running backs catch a lot of balls. Like I really like what Grubb's doing and how we're spreading the ball around.
Yeah, I mean, something that your teams under Nick Saban especially did well was execute balance on offense. And obviously, different teams and different coaches have different approaches.
Mhm.
And I just wonder long term, I think everybody's wondering, is this something that's going to impact them as playoff contenders if they want to make a deep run? And I just wonder, I mean, do you try anything different at this point? Like, is it too late 9 games in? I mean, Jam Miller seems to do a lot of things really well. He's really effective in pass protection. He's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. But, whether he's worried about the collarbone, if that's an issue, or something else, whether it's the scheme or he's just a little tentative, who knows? But it seems like the rush offense is what it is with him in the starting role, right? And getting the most touches out of all the running backs. Do you put any of this on Jam specifically? Like, should they give Daniel Hill more touches now that he's healthy? Like, what would you change, if anything?
Yeah, I think Hill's done great. I think Jam, is an integral part of this offense. I think you're always trying to change. You're always trying to get better. I mean, this week and every week, they're going to try to tweak things, whether it be the game plan, whether it be the play call. But the run game is not just about the offensive line, and it's not just the running back. It's about all five of those guys up front, tight end included, and the running backs being on the same page, seeing the holes, hitting the holes, to be able to to have those big runs that we all want to see. Um, and I look at it as we could probably try to commit to the run more, but I'm okay with us being a passing team, of not being a balanced team like we used to be. That hey, we're gonna go throw the ball. We're gonna, instead of calling an outside run, like I said, we're gonna dump it down on the screen. We're gonna give Ty a chance to throw it deep and then check it down. Um, Look, I think obviously, we want to be more productive running the ball, because then it does take pressure off the passing game. But I think we have to continue to work to that for the rest of the season, because we've got 3 games left of the regular season, and then the postseason starts. So um, to me, it's something you got to stress, you got to emphasize, you got to want to get better. And I think what Ty was saying is like these guys are frustrated from. We want to run the ball better. You just got to keep trying to work to do it. Do you start mixing up the running backs and all that stuff? I think I would do that before I'm going to start changing the game plan, the philosophies of what we're trying to do.
Obviously, a lot to like about Ty Simpson this year. I mean, he's in the mix for the Heisman Trophy. We know why. He's one of the best players in America. Now, a big narrative is that he can't hit the deep ball. You got to find something that's wrong with the game, right? Or at least he's missed a lot of opportunities. Currently, 2 of 14 on passes of 30 air yards or more this season. So maybe it is a real thing. Who knows? I mean, he obviously makes incredible intermediate throws. He does so many things so well. We see his pocket presence, his accuracy, his ball placement. People keep pointing out that he's already making NFL throws at this point. But John Parker, what are you seeing on the deep balls specifically?
Well, didn't he? It was one of the. So you said 2 of what, 14? I think a lot of things come into play, the deep ball, but the way he is able to throw the ball. Okay, that's something. That's a good stat. That's a good to know. If I'm playing quarterback, if I'm time like, okay, everything's going pretty good. Maybe we need to spend a little extra time on the deep ball and work on that. You're not going to be flawless the entire season. I think maybe above whatever 30 yards that you were talking about, from the goal line to the 30 yards, he's pretty good. Yeah, let's go work on the deep ball. All right, Ty, let's get together, and maybe during routes on there, there's receivers. You just add a couple more minutes each practice where you're working on that, and then it starts clicking throughout the remainder of the season. But I think from what I've seen from Ty, not only to mention all the tangibles, I think the intangible side of his game has, you can see it reflected in our team this year. Just the resolve and just the leadership that he's had. Um, and given that Florida State was not good, like that was not how you want to come out of the gates. if you're an Alabama quarterback, if you're an Alabama offense, if you're an Alabama team, and these guys have just turned those tables, and really their needle's just been pointing up all season.
John Parker, I don't know if you saw Ryan Grubb kind of joked about Brent Venables' team's ability to read other teams' signs, right? Like all within the rules of the game, and how Alabama is going into this week changing everything, changing all of the communication. Was that ever a problem that you encountered in your playing days? And how does changing that aspect of communication the week of a big game sort of impact your ability to execute as a team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something you're always aware of. I mean, coaches are and paranoid, or and players too are paranoid. Like it's hard enough to go out there and execute and to score a touchdown and to win a game. It's really hard if the other people know what you're doing. So you are paranoid. You kind of go through it throughout the season, especially now with the audio and visual that we have on game days. Like you can take up as much as you want to. So you just it's part of the game. And like, hey, we're trying to do it too. Like it's within the rules. Like if you're going to tell us you're throwing it deep, well, we're going to back up a little bit on our coverage. Or if you tell us we're going to run it over here, okay, we're going to send our linebackers to blitz. So it's something you could be aware of. And they'll have, analysts and everybody else looking out for this. But it's kind of, a fun part of the game is like, hey, we're trying to figure out what you're doing. And if they do, like we've got to make adjustments. And it's better now that we kind of know what's going on, that you can do it before the week. You can practice it. It's just something else you got to deal with. It's something else you gotta focus on. You got to study up on, and then be ready to go come Saturday.
So one of our colleagues, Matt Stahl at AL.com, he wrote about how Oklahoma is one of the two FBS teams that have scored on every single trip to the red zone this season. But Alabama has also been really solid in that area all year. They rank eighth nationally in red zone defense. What do they need to do to make life hard for Oklahoma or really any team in the red zone? As a quarterback, like what would defense do to limit your execution?
Keep them out of the red zone would be number one. Um, Look, the red zone's it's tougher for a quarterback when the field's compressed. So you get inside the 20, you've only got now 30 yards to work with, including the end zone. Things just tend to speed up. I think with that, that's going to include field goals. I'm assuming so. The first thing's taking care of the ball, right? That they've done a really good job of that. Their field goal kickers made kicks, so I don't know how many touchdowns they've had relative to field goals, but that is points on the board. I mean, that's huge. Like we always used to say on defense, like we're not going to lose games giving up field goals. Like we want to end every game in a kick. It's a lot better than giving up touchdowns. But if you're trying to keep them, out of the red zone, you got to put pressure on the quarterback. You got to make him make mistakes, right? I think that's the biggest thing, and then try to create turnovers with some pressure. I think Alabama's done a better job on defense of creating those turnovers, of being in the backfield. Had some good pass breakups last week in the red zone for Alabama's defense. So it's just where things have to be perfect. Like there's no room forever for error. Excuse me. Because an error on defense is going to be a touchdown for the offense. So you just got to lock in even more. And especially the team like this, like Oklahoma, that's going to have confidence in momentum down there in the red zone, where hey, we've scored every time. Like let's keep doing it. Like let's keep it up. We know what we're doing. So you just got to try to be disruptive on defense. I'm sure Womack knows that, and you dial up some blitzes, dial up a little more pressure, and try to be disruptive because you got to be perfect in the red zone, or else it's going to be a touchdown.
Tricky stuff, man. A lot of pressure. Speaking of pressure, John Parker, I mean, when y'all went undefeated in the regular season in 2008, I mean, how difficult was it week to week with a target on your back? It's like Alabama's back. They're dominated again. And it becomes, again, as everybody jokes now, but I'm sure it's true. And you saw it face to face, everybody's Super Bowl in a lot of ways. The margin of error was so slim back in the BCS days. Was there ever a point where, or a game even where like you really felt the pressure, like it might be slipping away and y'all had to find another gear?
I mean, during the game, sure, but I think during the weekend, like preparation, it's a lot more fun to have the target on your back than to not. Because I was on both sides, right? A couple years before, we were 6-6, and we're playing Alabama. It's not what it is today. So as a player, you want the pressure. You want to be out there. You want everybody to know, hey, we're going to get your best. Um, but and that kind of builds on where if you do get behind, it's like we gotta keep it going. Like it's not there's no time to stress, there's no time to panic. It's just we're a really good team. We've proven it to ourselves, we've proven it to everybody else. And it's just, you try to go out there and do business as usual. But by this point in the season, I mean, these guys are used to playing in big stadiums and big situations and, being down and having to come back and just dealing with the things that it takes to be a winner, takes to be a champion. You just got to do it week in and week out. And I think the leadership on this team on both sides of the ball um, makes me think that we are the team to beat. Like we have put up good numbers, we've put up great film. We just got to keep it going, which this team has done every week since Florida State. But as a player, you want the pressure, you want the target on your back. There's nothing better.
John Parker, a couple more for you here. I want to ask you if you don't mind to reach back into the memory vault a little bit here. Not going to get ahead of ourselves. We know that Oklahoma's this week. Even the game after that, Eastern Illinois is the week before the Iron Bowl. But I do want to ask you about Auburn specifically and about your experience playing them. We obviously know what happened in 2008. It was a ton of fun for Alabama fans, but I'm sure even more so for you guys, beating them, I believe, 36-0 on
Mhm.
a cold, rainy day in Bryant Denny Stadium. Pretty awesome. What do you remember about that game? Is there a favorite memory or story you like to tell from the 2008 Iron Bowl?
I do. I mean, the cold, rainy day. To us, it was we had nobody on that team had beaten Auburn, and we'd already clinched the SEC West. Like we're going to play in the championship. Um, but of all the games that we played that year, you got to beat Auburn. So we knew that it was as stressful or as heightened focus going to that game as it was against when we went on the road to Georgia. We had to beat LSU the week before. um, to me, just being able to go out there, and that's the kind of game that was 36 nothing. Defense played awesome, offense played awesome, kicking game was fantastic, and everything just worked. And that's what you want as a player. To be able to do that, to go out there, and especially against your in-state rival. I mean, I was talking to a friend this week, and it's like, it's so cliche to say, well, it's just a game you can throw the record book out, but it is unbelievable year in and year out. Doesn't matter what the record is, what how these games shake out and how it comes down. I mean, Auburn looked pretty good against Vandy last week. Be able to score a lot more points than they usually have. So they're going to be coming out the gates ready to go, just like we're going to be too. So, and I love it's the last game of the season. It's the biggest game of the season. Doesn't matter what the records are, and don't let anybody lie to you. It is the biggest game of the season.
I'm curious about trash talk, John Parker, because I have to say, I recall you engaging in a little bit of trash talk during your career. I remember you maybe pointing at the scoreboard once or twice. What do you remember about trash talk on the field? What was the best trash talk you ever heard?
Oh man, I enjoyed it. Like I liked, you know, not liking your opponent and going out there and just trying to beat them. Um, and so anytime anybody talked trash to me, I'd give it back to them. The Arkansas game you were referencing, we're blowing them out of the water. I don't know what the score is, and he's talking trash to me, and I'm like, had to be like, bud, we're up by 30 points right now. Like the time for trash talk is done. Um, so I thought it was fun. I just love playing football. So if we're gonna go out there and chop it up a little bit, the defense have a more opportunity to talk trash than the offense does. So I was always a little jealous of that. And if I was like middle linebacker or something, I would be nonstop trying to get in the quarterback's head, trying to get in somebody's head, because I just thought it was fun. But yeah, it goes on. Probably a lot less nowadays than it did when I was playing because just the pace of the game is so much faster. You don't have time to trash talk. You do it kind of walking off the field or getting coming back on the field, but the pace of the game is pretty fast these days.
Last thing, John Parker. I mean, you played a couple of seasons for him. I want to ask you about Nick Saban because I know that you've got a million stories. But is there any one in particular that you remember best about your time with him that you like to dust off, tell people at parties, at a tailgate, or something? What's your favorite Nick Saban story?
You know, I don't know. There's so many. It's just I think people always ask me like, what was Coach Saban like during when you were playing? And I was telling him, like, well, he was the most transparent guy I've ever seen because the way he talked to the media was the same way he talked to the players, was the same way he talked to the coaches, and it was just nonstop. I mean, it was relentless focus all day, every day, and I think that kind of confuses people, but it shouldn't at all. That like this guy was dialed in every second of the day. Um, and get off of the golf course a little bit during the off season, but not much. Like he wins the national championship, and he's ready for the next one. So I just, I think more than like the biggest thing is like the lessons that he taught us, and I think everybody around the state too, just listening to his press conferences, like the impact he's had has been unbelievable. And maybe we can tell some of the good stories one of these days when I guess we're on a podcast or something now, so you could be a lot more uncensored than you used to could.
Hey man, we're unrated here on with this interview, so feel free next
I
time you're
love it.
here to maybe pull one out of the memory bank. Hey, outstanding as always, Alabama football legend John Parker Wilson. We appreciate you doing this, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a good one.